Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Gadget Yugioh deck profile for post-Legacy of Destruction. Wanted to update the Gadget deck with some of the support we got from the Legacy of Destruction booster set. I know that the focus of the support from Legacy of Destruction is meant to be its own full deck with the Shining Sarcophagus support, but I figured with the Gadget Trio and the new trap we received along with Shining Sarcophagus itself, it can add for a fun little engine that you can mix in with the actual Gadget deck. Since it is still a Gadget monster, it has some pretty good synergy with the other Gadget monsters in the deck that you use as well. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For our Gadget lineup, we are running 3 copies of the new Gadget Trio. If it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 Shining Sarcophagus or 1 spell or trap that mentions it from your deck to your hand. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can set 1 Stronghold, the Hidden Fortress, from your deck. You can only use each effect of Gadget Trio once per turn. So with your Gadget Stronghold being a monster or a trap that special summons itself as a Machine Earth monster onto the field, gaining 1,000 attack for each Shining Sarcophagus and monster that mentions it that you control. The more Gadget Trios you have, the stronger that this card will become, along with your Shining Sarcophagus also being set up. You can use Gadget Trio to search out that Shining Sarcophagus, and it only has to be special summoned or normal summoned, which means you can summon it to the field with some of your other cards like Gold Gadget or Silver Gadget to make use of. For our Gadget lineup, aside from some of the other ones, I'm running 2 of each of the original Gadgets. So 2 copies of Yellow Gadget, 2 copies of Green Gadget, and 2 copies of Red Gadget. They all search one another, but I feel that these numbers are fine with the majority of other Gadget monsters that we are running in the deck, with Red Gadget being able to search Yellow, Yellow being able to search Green, and Green being able to search Red. You just have search power to give you more and more setup for all of your different plays. Some of the better Gadgets for the actual setup on the field comes in the form of Gold and Silver Gadget, which I'm also running 3 copies of. So 3 copies of Gold Gadget. When this card is normal or special summon, you can special summon 1 level 4 machine monster from your hand. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 level 4 Gadget monster from your deck. Except for Gold Gadget, you can only use this effect once per turn and only once that turn. So you have the search for Gadget Trio potentially as well to summon on the field, giving you the search of Shining Sarcophagus off of that card as well, with your Silver Gadget, which we are also running 3 copies of, being able to have the same special summon effect for your different machine monsters that we run. Just 3 ofs for each of them. You can utilize them quite well in the deck for just being able to set up a good variety of your extra deck plays, including our Link to Summon into cards like Platinum Gadget for just extending more and more of our machine setup. For the other Gadget related supports, 2 copies of Boot Up Corporal Command Dynamo. You can target up to 2 machine Gadget monsters you control or in your graveyard with different names. Special summon this card from your hand, then equip those targets to this card regardless of their type. You can only use this effect of Boot Up Corporal Command Dynamo once per turn. It gains 1,000 attack for each monster equipped to this card by this effect. So just more of a setup if you use 2 of your Gadget monsters on the field for the Link play. You can go into Platinum Gadget, then being able to have the special summon this card on the field by using those 2 cards that you equip onto it from your graveyard to just give you another monster on the field to make use of also. And I also run 2 copies of Boot Up Admiral Destroyer Dynamo. It cannot be normal summon or set, must be special summon from your hand by sending 2 Gadget monster cards from your hand and or face on the field to the graveyard. Cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect while you control a Gadget monster or a Gadget monster card equipped to a monster. So you can send the cards equipped to your Boot Up Dynamo to summon out your Destroyer Dynamo onto the field as well, and then make use of that initial search power as well with cards like Boot Up Order, Gear Charge, which we have in the spell lineup as well. For more of the generic machine support, I also run the 1 Therion King Regulus, just needing another equip option for our machine monsters in the deck to then also have an equip monster to make use of for our cards as well for the special summon of a Gadget monster, and still counting as an equip onto your monster thanks to your Gadget support. With the rest of the main deck monsters consisting of just a small hand trap lineup of 3 Ash Blossom and 2 Effect Veiler, just as added backup hand trap power to stop our opponent if they end up going first against us. For the spell lineup, I run 1 copy of Boot Up Order Gear Charge and the 2 copies of Shining Sarcophagus. Shining Sarcophagus can also, once per turn during main phase, add 1 card that mentions Shining Sarcophagus from our deck to our hand, except for it. So it can be the search power to add our Gadget Trio from our deck to our hand. Boot Up Order Gear Charge, when it's activated, you can target any number of gadget monsters you control that are equipped to a monster and special summon them. You can discard 1 card to add 1 Boot Up Admiral, Destroyer, Dynamo from your deck to your hand. So this has more search power on top of both of these cards, just relying on that search and setup for a particular gadget or, the Boot Up Dynamo related cards in the deck as well. For more of the generic spell support, I also run 2 copies of Limiter Removal, just being more of a stronger setup for the majority of the gadget monsters we can summon out, and then being able to make use for the Destroy by Card effect card. Since you destroy all the monsters at the end of the turn with Limiter Removal, destroying your gadget monsters. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can set your Stronghold, the Hidden Fortress, for the destruction of this card at the end, giving you that trap to use later on. I also run 2 copies of World Legacy Succession, just to give you more gadget special summon resource from the graveyard back into the field, giving you more gadgets to then make use of in your hand. Also, 2 copies of Pot of Desires. I like going into this card after I have my initial search for my gadget cards, with the rest of the deck just thinned out for some of the one-of text that I could potentially draw into, with us also running 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent. If our opponent stops any of our monster effects, we at least have a draw 2 or a resource to take away from our opponent using this card. For the traps, I run 2 copies of Stronghold, the Hidden Fortress. You special summon this card as an effect monster, Machine Earth, level 4 with 0 attack and 2,000 defense. It gains the following effects, and it's still a trap card. It gains 1,000 attack for each Shining Sarcophagus and monster that mentions it you control. So even if you just have the gadget monster that mentions the added additional play for monsters that mentioned it in your setup. For your equip spells, you'll have the attack boost thanks to Stronghold, and once per turn, when opponent's monster declares an attack while you control Shining Sarcophagus, you can destroy that monster, giving you more protection as the actual fortress that it used to defend Yugioh in the duel against the Pharaoh as well. With the rest of the main deck and our hand trap lineup just being 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, along with the Ash Blossom and the Effect Veiler, just an added hand trap to be able to use on your opponent's turn. For the extra deck, I have the 1 copy of Platinum Gadget. Needing 2 machine monsters, it cannot be used as link material the turn it is summoned. During your main phase, you can special summon 1 level 4 lower machine monster from your hand to a zone this card points to. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 level 4 gadget monster from your deck, so giving you more access to your many different gadget monsters, having a faster pace to then be able to search out those different cards as well. The 1 copy of Asa the Earth Charmer, along with the 1 IP Masquerena, the 1 Cross Sheep, and the 1 Nightmare Cerberus for the Link 2 monsters, with our higher links being 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Apollosa, the 1 Access Code, and the 1 Underworld Goddess. With the bigger monster swarm we can get with this deck on the field, needing 4 more effect monsters, as long as we have the 3 gadgets on the field, we can then take one of our opponent's Link 2 monsters to use for this card as well. And for the Xyz monsters, I have the 1 Springin's Merrymaker. I wanted this card, being Tornado Dragon, to be Sargus, the rank 8, so you could overlay on top of Springer's Merrymaker and then have a search for Regulus in the deck. So if you have Sargus, you could just replace the Tornado Dragon with that copy of the card. The 1 Gear Gigan X, along with the 1 Baguska and the 1 Zeus and the 1 Typhon for being able to overlay over our other Xyz monsters. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, the setup with your silver and gold gadgets, I would still say, are some of the best ones. Depending on the other gadget monster you summon out, you can either have an initial search, depending on the original trio gadgets that you have, giving you another resource in your hand to go into, which you can then use for the overlay play as well. If you, let's say, have one of these gadgets in your hand, but you also have the gadget trio, you can go for the silver gadget summon, summoning out your gadget trio. Gadget trio will then activate as well, adding your Shining Sarcophagus to your hand, and then from there you can go for the Link 2 play, which then you can go into your Platinum Gadget using that card to summon out your other gadget monster from your hand, giving you that search into more of your other gadget monsters. You can then activate the Shining Sarcophagus that you have in your hand, being able to then add a spell that mentions Shining Sarcophagus as well, or add 1 card that mentions it. So you can also add your Stronghold, the Hidden Fortress, since it does have Shining Sarcophagus in its name, setting this card up to be another card to act as a defense on the field as well. And then if the Platinum Gadget is destroyed, you have a search for another gadget to then just keep extending your monster plays on the field to begin with. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, just wanted to do an update to the gadgets because I know a lot of people see this support from the Legacy of Destruction set and think, can I mix these cards from the Shining Sarcophagus support into their own respected decks? And I do believe it can be done, just needing a little more tech options with the actual use of Shining Sarcophagus to be done in the deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. If there's any decks you'd like to see with some of the added support from Legacy of Destruction remade, definitely do let me know down in the comments below. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.